Ever feel like, the market's out to get you? Like one minute you're riding high, the next, bam, you're getting tackled to the mat.
It's common feeling, yeah.
Turns out, trading psychology is more of a wrestling match than a graceful waltz. And today we're diving deep into Bulletproof Trader by Steve Ward to, equip you with the mental, emotional, and even physical strategies to not just survive, but thrive in the market no matter what gets thrown your way.
That's right. Bulletproof Trader isn't about eliminating risk. It's about building the resilience to withstand it, to even use it to your advantage. We'll be uncovering some fascinating insights from behavioral science, performance psychology, and even ancient Stoic philosophy.
Okay, I am so ready for this. Did you know research shows traders actually make different decisions based on their profit and loss at the start of the year?
It's true. That's just one example of how deeply psychology plays into trading. It's not always rational.
So let's break down the four cornerstones of bulletproof trading: psychology, physiology, philosophy, and pragmatism, and how they all work together. I'm particularly interested in this idea of physiology in trading. Is Steve talking about doing push-ups in between market orders?
Well, not exactly push-ups, but in Bulletproof Trader, Ward argues that the physical stress of trading, the fatigue, the adrenaline spikes, even how you breathe it, all impacts your decision-making. Think about it. Have you ever noticed yourself getting, jittery after a string of losses?
Oh, absolutely. My heart rate goes through the roof even when I'm just watching the ticker.
That's your physiology at work. It's that primal fight-or-flight response kicking in, and it can seriously cloud your judgment. Ward argues that we need to treat our trading setup like an athlete's training regime.
Now, philosophy.
Mhm.
That feels a little abstract in the world of trading. Are we suddenly quoting Plato while day trading?
Think of it more like practical wisdom for the modern market. Ward draws heavily from the Stoics, who, fun fact, were actually traders themselves back in ancient Greece. And they understood the importance of managing emotions in the face of uncertainty. They even use the phrase inner citadel to describe that place of mental fortitude.
Inner citadel. I love it. But let's
Hmm.
give us, how does any of this translate into actual, profitable trades? This is where the pragmatism part comes in,
Yeah,
right?
precisely. Bulletproof Trader emphasizes that this isn't just some theoretical framework, it's all about practical application. And one of the key areas Ward focuses on is getting good at the downs, because, let's face it, losses are part of the game.
Wait, is he suggesting we should enjoy losing streaks?
Not enjoying, no, but he uses a fascinating example from behavioral finance research to illustrate how our brains are wired to feel the pain of a loss twice as strongly as the pleasure of a win. You see, they asked people, if you lose $100 on a wrong call, how much would you need to win to take the bet? Most people said around $200. It's called loss aversion.
Interesting. So are you saying we feel the pain of a loss twice as strongly as the pleasure of a win?
Exactly. And Ward argues that understanding this inherent bias is crucial for making rational trading decisions. He even uses the metaphor of trading being more like a wrestling match than a dance you're going to get taken down, but it's about how quickly you can get back up and wrestle strategically.
It's about being mentally prepared for those inevitable takedowns.
Yeah.
Who goes into a wrestling match expecting a graceful waltz?
Yeah.
So how do we train for that kind of market?
One word: commitment.
Okay, I was going to say, that doesn't sound very groundbreaking, but I bet there's more to it.
You bet. Ward differentiates between motivation, which is fleeting, and true commitment, which is what sees you through those tough times. He talks about identifying your core trading values, not just your profit goals, but the principles that will guide your decisions even when the market gets rocky.
So like about chasing the next big win, more about showing up consistently, even when it's ugly.
That's the heart of it. Think about the most stressful trading scenario you've ever faced. Now think about how much of that stress stemmed from things you couldn't control, like market swings, news events, versus your own reactions and decisions.
Okay, yeah. The more I think about it, a good chunk of that stress was self-inflicted,
Yeah.
like frantically checking my portfolio every 5 seconds, making impulsive decisions.
And that's where Ward's concept of controlling the controllables comes in. He uses this example of a research study where two animals were given shocks. One had a lever to stop it, the other didn't. Guess what they found?
I'm going to guess the one with the lever was a lot less stressed, even though they got the same shock.
Yeah, exactly. Having even the illusion of control significantly reduces stress. Now, apply that to your trading. Are you focusing your energy on what you can influence or getting bogged down by what you can't?
Okay, point taken. Less wrestling with the market gods, more focusing on my own game plan. But that doesn't mean ignoring risk altogether, right?
Absolutely not. And this is where what Ward calls risk-aware decision-making comes in. He emphasizes being mindful of the internal and external factors that influence your risk-taking. And he uses a great analogy to illustrate this.
You know I love a good analogy. Hit me with it.
Imagine you're windsurfing. You wouldn't take out a huge sail in a hurricane, would you?
Only if I wanted to be launched into another dimension.
Exactly. It's about choosing the right equipment or, in trading terms, the right position size and strategy that maximizes opportunity while allowing you to maintain control.
So, matching my trading style to the market conditions, not my ego. Got it. But let's be real, even with the best risk management, uncertainty is a constant in trading. How do we stop it from turning us into a nervous wreck?
That's a great question, and that's exactly what we'll be talking about when we come back.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about how to navigate uncertainty in trading.
Yes, and in Bulletproof Trader, Steve Ward, he argues for a mindset shift. It's not about eliminating uncertainty, it's about embracing it. He uses this fascinating example of a study where people had to choose between two boxes to win a prize.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about these boxes.
So one box had a 50-50 chance of a red or blue ball, the other had an unknown ratio. Most people chose the 50-50 box, even though the other one could have had better odds.
Wow, so we're hardwired to, cling to certainty, even when it might not be in our best interest.
Exactly. It's called ambiguity aversion, and it can really hold us back.
So how do we, break free from this need for certainty, especially when the market feels anything but certain?
Well, Ward provides a few practical techniques to train for uncertainty, such as open awareness training from mindfulness practice. This involves cultivating a state of open attention to the present moment without judgment or resistance.
I can see how that would be helpful in, tuning out the noise and focusing on what really matters.
Exactly. Now, switching gears a bit, let's talk about the physiological side of trading, because, as we discussed earlier, it directly impacts our decision-making. One of the tools Ward advocates for is heart rate variability, or HRV.
I've heard that term thrown around in fitness circles, but I'll admit I'm a little fuzzy on how it applies to trading.
Essentially, HRV measures the variation in time between your heartbeats. A higher HRV generally indicates better fitness, resilience, and stress management. It's like having a more responsive, adaptable nervous system, which you need in the fast-paced world of trading.
So the more our heart rate can jump around, the better we are at handling those market jumps too.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
A healthy HRV is about balance. Ward emphasizes that trading takes a toll not just mentally, but physically. When you're staring at a losing trade, your body is pumping out adrenaline, cortisol. It's a stress cocktail.
Oh, tell me about it. I can practically feel my blood pressure rising just thinking about it.
Exactly. And if that's happening day after day, week after week, it leads to what Ward calls chronic stress. And it can seriously impair your decision-making.
So how can we use HRV to, let's say, become more aware of our stress levels?
There are a number of wearable devices and apps that can track HRV. Ward suggests using this data to monitor your stress levels and recovery patterns. For example, if you notice your HRV is consistently low, it might be a sign that you need to adjust your trading strategy, take more breaks, or even step away from the market for a bit to recharge.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not just about having a high HRV. It's about understanding what your personal baseline is and how it fluctuates.
Exactly. And Ward emphasizes that one of the most important factors for improving HRV and overall trading resilience is getting enough sleep.
Okay, I know. I'm guilty of burning the midnight oil, especially during volatile market periods.
We've all been there. But Ward points out that sleep deprivation has a direct impact on our cognitive function, emotional regulation, and decision-making ability. He uses a great analogy to drive home this point. Imagine you're driving a car with faulty brakes. You might be able to handle it for a short while, but eventually you're going to crash.
Okay, that's a scary thought.
Right. Well, sleep is like those brakes. It allows our nervous system to reset, repair, and recharge.
So we really need to be treating sleep as a non-negotiable part of our trading routine, not just something we squeeze in when we can.
Absolutely. Now, even with enough sleep, stress is sometimes inevitable, particularly in a high-stakes environment like trading. So what can we do to deal with those in-the-moment spikes when they happen?
I was just going to ask you that. What's Ward's take on managing those moments when we feel ourselves getting anxious or overwhelmed?
Ward provides a toolbox of techniques in Bulletproof Trader, but one of the simplest and most effective is breathing.
Okay, now this sounds a little too new agey, even for me. Are we talking about some mystical yogic breathing exercise here?
Not exactly. It's more about understanding the physiology of breath and how it impacts our nervous system. For example, when we're stressed, our breath tends to become shallow and rapid, which further activates that fight or flight response.
So just by consciously changing how we breathe, we can actually calm our nervous system down.
Exactly. Ward provides specific breathing techniques, but one of the simplest is the calm and focused breath. It's just a simple 5-second inhale, 5-second exhale. It helps shift you from a state of stress to one of composure.
I've actually tried something like that before during a particularly tense trading day, and it did help.
It's amazing how such a simple practice can have such a profound effect. And the best part is you can do it anytime, anywhere. Ward suggests incorporating just 5 minutes of strategic breath work into your daily routine and then using those techniques in shorter bursts throughout your trading day as needed.
So we can have a personalized, like, breath recipe for any market situation, maybe a shot of calm and focused before I check my portfolio.
You got it. Now, speaking of tools to help manage those high-pressure trading moments, Ward also talks about the importance of pre-mortem analysis.
Pre-mortem analysis. That sounds intense. Tell me more.
It's a technique popularized by psychologist Gary Klein, and it involves imagining a future where your trade has already failed.
Hold on. Deliberately picturing my trading disaster. Isn't that just going to, like, psych me out?
That's the beauty of it. It doesn't. By mentally rehearsing those potential failures beforehand, you actually reduce the emotional charge they carry if, or should I say when, they happen in real life. You've already gamed out those scenarios and planned your response.
That's some next-level mental jujitsu right there. So instead of fearing failure, we're almost like welcoming it as a learning opportunity.
Precisely. And this ties back to Ward's emphasis on process over outcome. It's not about avoiding losses at all costs. It's about focusing on what you can control, your decisions, your risk management, your emotional response. And that ultimately is what builds true, unshakable trading confidence. Speaking of confidence, that's what we'll be diving into after the break. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about building unshakable trading confidence. I'm ready to dive into that.
It's a great topic to unpack because confidence is often misunderstood. In Bulletproof Trader, Ward argues that true confidence isn't about feeling invincible, It's about trusting your process and taking action even when you're uncertain.
I think that's where a lot of traders get tripped up. We wait for this feeling of absolute certainty before making a move, and in the meantime, opportunities come and go.
Exactly. Ward points out that trading is all about navigating uncertainty, not eliminating it. He defines confidence as an act of trust or reliance. It's about trusting in your strategy, your preparation, and your ability to execute, even when you don't have all the answers.
So it's less about, like, feeling fearless and more about acting courageously even when we are afraid.
That's a great way to put it. He uses a poker analogy to illustrate this. Imagine your chip stack. The more chips you have, the more confident you feel in taking on bigger bets, right?
Of course, a big stack gives you more room to maneuver, more chances to recover from a loss.
Exactly. Well, building confidence in trading is like building that chip stack. The more experience you have, the more you've prepared, the more you've learned from your mistakes. Those are all chips in your confidence pile.
So it's not about avoiding losses altogether. It's about having the resilience to bounce back from them, to use those experiences to make better decisions in the future.
That's the heart of it. Now, Ward also provides a really helpful framework for turning all of this knowledge into action. He calls it the growth framework.
Okay, I'm always up for a good framework. Let's hear it.
Growth stands for goals, reality, options, will, tactics, and habits. It's a structured approach to moving from insight to action.
Let's break that down, starting with goals. Is this about more than just saying, I want to be a millionaire trader?
It is. Ward emphasizes that your trading goals should be aligned with your values. Those core principles we talked about earlier. He wants you to ask yourself, why am I trading in the first place? What's driving you beyond just the financial aspect?
I love that. Because when the market throws those inevitable curveballs, it's your why that will keep you going.
Exactly. Once you have clarity on your why, you can set those specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals, SMART goals. But Ward adds a twist to this. He suggests setting goals not just for your trading performance, but also for your personal development as a trader. For example, you might set a goal to improve your risk management skills or master a new trading strategy.
So it's about focusing on the process of becoming a better trader, not just the end result.
Yeah.
I like that. What's next?
The R in growth stands for reality. This is about honestly assessing your current situation, your strengths, your weaknesses, the market conditions, your available resources. Ward encourages you to ask yourself, What's working, what's not, and where are the gaps between my current reality and my desired goals?
So no more sugarcoating our trading shortcomings. Time for some brutal self-honesty.
Exactly. And once you have that clear view of your reality, you move on to O options. This is about brainstorming all the possible paths you could take to bridge that gap between where you are and where you want to be.
I like it. So it's like creating a trading roadmap with multiple routes to our destination.
Yes. And Ward encourages you to be creative here, explore different trading strategies, mentors, resources, even mindsets. Then, once you have all these options laid out, you move on to the W will. This is where you tap into those core values and ask yourself, which of these options aligns most closely with who I want to be as a trader and what I want to achieve?
It's about making a conscious choice, not just blindly following the most popular trading strategy or guru.
Exactly. And once you've made that commitment, you move on to the T tactics. This is where you break down your chosen path into specific, actionable steps.
Creating a trading game plan with clear, measurable steps we can track and adjust along the way.
Got it. And finally, the H in growth stands for habits. This is about turning those tactical steps into consistent routines. Ward emphasizes that success isn't about some grand one-time effort. It's about showing up day after day, consistently executing your process, even when you don't feel like it.
Building those bulletproof habits, one trade, one breath, one mindful decision at a time.
Precisely.
Wow, this has been such an insightful deep dive into bulletproof traders. We've covered so much ground from psychology and physiology to ancient wisdom and practical techniques. If you had to leave our listeners with just one key takeaway, what would it be?
I think the most important thing to remember is that becoming a bulletproof trader isn't about being perfect or never making mistakes. It's about developing the mental, emotional, and physical resilience to navigate the inevitable ups and downs of the market with composure, clarity, and a commitment to your own growth.
Beautifully said. It's about embracing the journey with all its challenges and triumphs. And remember, you don't have to go it alone. Bulletproof Trader is a fantastic resource, and there are communities of traders out there who can offer support and guidance along the way. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Until next time, happy trading.